Could you tell us about provisional ballots and how they're incorporated into election day counting?
Okay, so provisional ballots are the same actual paper ballot that another voter would cast. The only thing with the provisional ballot is what would prompt that is if you either show up at the polls without your ID, we have no way to verify who you are. You would go through the provisional ballot process, and your ballot would be put in a provisional ballot envelope. Those come back to the office on election night. By law, we have 48 hours to research those, and really it's just a verified ballot. I mean, it's the same exact ballot that go through the optical scan units on election day at the polls. It just is going to go through an extra verification process that is then presented to the canvassing board, which by law is myself, a sitting county commissioner, and a county judge. It is done at a public meeting, and those provisionals are brought through, and then it is determined by the canvassing board whether the ballot inside is accepted or rejected based on the information researched during that 48-hour process. The voter also has the ability within that 48-hour time frame, again by law, to bring ID in and show that it was them at the polls. But if your signature on file matches, if you are a registered voter, if you voted in the correct precinct, and we can verify the signature on the outside envelope to your signature on file, you don't need to come in within that 48 hours. We can verify that ballot and let it go through.
So every registered voter truly has an opportunity to vote, even if they don't have any form of ID, thanks to the provisional ballot.
And anybody, for any reason, can vote a provisional ballot. If we don't ever turn anybody away, it's very important that you may show up at the wrong precinct, and we may tell you that it's wrong precinct. We will tell you where you need to go to the proper precinct to vote, which is by law. You have to vote in the precinct in which you legally reside. But I was at a poll on election day one year, and a very elderly gentleman came in, and he goes, okay, I know I'm at the wrong precinct, but I was driving by and I'm really tired and I want to go home and take a nap, and I just want to vote. And he voted a provisional ballot. So the provisional ballot gives the opportunity for anyone to vote. It may be that we cannot determine if you are a registered voter, or you're maybe someone who have lost your right to vote and not sure if you've had your rights restored or whatever it is. So the provisional ballot really is just a verification ballot.
Mm-hmm. As for the voters showing up on election day, what should they bring with them to verify that they are a registered voter?
So there's 9 forms of ID that is allowed by state law to present at the polls on election day. The one that most people have is the driver's license, because by law it has to be a picture and signature. So photo and signature ID is the combination that you need. A driver's license has both of those, or it can be a combination of 2. A passport, for example, would be used. Student ID, retirement home ID, public assistance ID would be eligible. So it can be a combination of those. Mm-hmm. And if not, if for any reason you drove to a polling location and have no ID on you, which you should never do, but if you have, you would be allowed to vote a provisional ballot.
One common misconception that you addressed earlier was regarding absentee ballots, and the idea that is floating out there that absentee ballots aren't counted unless it's either a close election or only in unique situations. That is not the case, correct?
Yeah, we've worked really hard to bust that myth. Absentees not only are counted, they are the first ballots opened and canvassed. The law allows us to start the canvassing of absentee ballots 15 days before the election. The very first numbers you will see released on election night, go to thevotebrevard.com, 7 p.m. As soon as we can get them posted, you are going to see early voting numbers and absentee numbers, very first ones released. So not only are they counted, they're the first ones counted. And 1/3 of Brevard County voted by mail in the 2012 election, and I am expecting to see that percentage to be even higher for this election. We're thinking that it will be over 90,000 ballots have been requested for the 2014 primary, so I'm expecting a really high turnout by mail.